1st of January, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua. Vayechi.
Okay, as a Kohen, I'll ask you to start off, please, Mayor.
Okay. Let's see. It says, Vayechi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim Shiva Esrei Shana Vayechi Yimei Yaakov Shnei Chayav Sheva Shanim V'Arba'im U'Me'at Shana. Okay, so let's see. Yaakov lived in the land of Egypt 17 years. Vayhime, in the days of Yaakov, the years of his life, let's see, Sheva Shanim, 7 years, Arba'im, and 40, Ume'at Shana, and 100 years. It's 147 years.
Right.
Okay. And Rashi says, let's see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That unlike the other Ovis, if I remember rightly, the Torah puts 7 years and 140 years as two groups. Whereas we find, certainly by Sarah, it says 100 years, 20 years, 7 years. And I think, if I remember rightly, also by the end of Parsha's Chayei Sarah, and it says that, yeah. Each group has its 100 years, 70 years, and 5 years. And similarly in Parshas Vayishlach, with regard to Yitzchak, Yaakov, where is it? In the Parshas Vayishlach, not mamash the end, before the that's quite the actually it was only two groups because it was 180 years. 180 years, and here the 140 years are put together. It says 7 years and 140 years. I don't know why that is. The Balaturim points out that unlike by Avram and by Yitzchak, where it puts the 100 years first, and then the hundreds, then the tens, and then the units, here it puts the units first. Okay, I'll read it out. Mona hamua tchila, ma shelo also came by Avram and Yitzchak. Shahayu Yom of Mu'atim Baroy. Is Kamua Tchila. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It says why he lost 33 years of his life. There's a whole discussion about that. There's a beautiful explanation of the Das Kenim Bale HaTosfos. The Das Kenim says that when Yaakov came to meet Paro, Paro asked him, "How old are you?" To which Yaakov answered, "I'm 130 years old. Ma'at v'roim hoyu yemei chayai. My years have been few and unpleasant, bad. I haven't had a good year alive. And they haven't reached the level of the life of my fathers in the time that they were sojourning in the land of Eretz Yisrael. So the Lamaisa Chazal say that Yaakov was taken to task for having given such an answer to Paro. So if you count, says the Das Kenim, if you count the number of words from the time it says, Paro asked him, how old are you? Till the end of this two psukim, then Yaakov answered, my years of my life, 130, ma'at v'roim, few and bad have been the years of my life. Altogether comes to 33 words. I'll show you, go back and talking before Shvi of last week's Parsha. Yeah. Chapter 47, Pasuk 8 and Pasuk 9.
47.
So Reb Chaim Shmulevitz asked the question, Yaakov punished, so for his answer I can understand. Yaakov was punished because he gave an answer which sounded like he lacked appreciation of what God had done for him. But why was he punished for Paro's question? It says, Vayomer Paro Yaakov, Kama yemei shnei chayecha. How old are you? Right? How many years of your life? So why was he punished for that? Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, most times when world leaders, heads of state, when they meet each other, the first question they ask each other is not, tell me, how old are you? It's a very, very strange thing. Why should you ask him, excuse me, how old are you? The answer is that when Yaakov came in, he came in bent and shuffling, and he looked. So Paro was startled. And the first thing he came and said, tell me, how old are you? You look very old indeed. So therefore, since he gave over a appearance of being very old, his deportment, his appearance looked old, so that in itself was Yaakov should have, if he'd shown his appreciation for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu had done for him, and he'd had a young, was young in spirit, right? He wouldn't have come in looking like such an old man. So his deportment and the way he carried himself, that in itself raised Paro's curiosity to know how old he was. It prompted Paro to ask the question, how old are you? And therefore, that's why Yaakov was punished for the question as well. Okay, that's the Das Kenim. Here, the bottom, the Balaturim says a different shot. By the way, he lost 33 years. It says Gematria of Yichye is 33. Okay. Anyway, let's see the Rashi here.
I had heard something similar, that a person's face reflects his attitudes. That
Correct.
person is constantly complaining, then his face will become wrinkled and old looking.
Right.
And then therefore it was that Yaakov complained a lot, and therefore he had this really old appearance on his face.
Right. It's a similar idea. Okay, let's see the Rashi here.
Okay. It says, let's see, Vayechi Yaakov. Yaakov lived. Lama Parsha zo stuma. So why is this verse a closed verse? Which I got to see this morning when I had my Aliyah.
Right. This morning?
Oh, no, not this morning. It was Motze, I'm sorry.
Mincha.
It was
Mincha.
Yeah, Mincha and Shabbos. Yeah.
Right.
Wrong day. But I did see it. I know that.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
As I point out, by the way, Rashi means Parshas of Stum. It's not just, they normally, the way a Sefer Torah is written, there are two types of Parshas. There's Parshas Psuchos and Parshas Stumos, which means Parsha Psucha means the previous section ends, and then there's the rest of the line is open, and then the next Parsha starts on the next line. That's called the Parsha Psucha. And then you have another kind of Parsha called Parsha Stuma, where the Parsha ends, and then there's a gap of at least 9 letters. And then the Parsha continues on the same line. Next Parsha begins on the same line. We are Noeg L'Maisa only just to put one word of that next Parsha on that line. But the Maisa, as long as there's a gap of 9 letters, you can start the next Parsha on that same line. That's a Parsha Stuma. But that's not what we're referring to over here. Here we're referring to the fact that Vayechi starts, immediately runs on straight from the end of Parshas Vayigash, and there's no gap whatsoever. I mean, more just a gap of a regular gap between 2 words. But there's no other gap. And that's what she means by here, Parshas Stuma. Now, why is that?
Okay. Lefi shekevan shevniftar Yaakov Avinu. Accordingly, since Yaakov, our forefather, passed away, nistemu einayim v'libam shel Yisrael. So their eyes and the heart of Israel were closed, I guess. Nistemu.
Right.
Mitzarat hashibud, because of the hardship of slavery. I guess. Okay. Shehitchilu lishabdam.
Because they began to enslave them.
Okay, so davar acher, another possibility. Shebikesh ligalot et haketz levanav benistam mimenu. Okay, that he Bikesh wanted, I guess, to tell the end, reveal the end of, I guess, when the Mashiach comes.
Yeah, when will be the end of all exiles, right? Means that when Mashiach will come.
Okay, so to his sons, Levanav, Vinis Tam Mimenu, but it was closed off from him.
Concealed from him.
Concealed, okay. And this is Breshit Rabbah. Comment in Breshit Rabbah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the idea is that the fact it's closed up between the 2 parashas shows that there was some element of the future which was closed up, hidden from the Jewish people. So according to the first explanation, meaning we have to understand actually what it means by nistemu einehem belibam shel Yisrael. What does that mean? They became closed up. Not quite sure actually what it means. Nistemu einehem Pashtus means the ability to see things clearly in a clear, objective light was deprived of them. Whereas once a person is forced into a situation like, say, slavery or something like that, they kind of they get a kind of a blinkered existence. They're not able to, they're just concentrating on where they're going to get their food from and how to free themselves maybe of their bondage. That they, in other words, they lack an objective form of vision. Maybe that's what it means. This to be Einayim Velibom Shel Yisrael. The Maisa, they till as long as Parsha says, as long as Yaakov was alive and all his descendants still kept the Torah, even though they were living in Goshen in Egypt, they all kept, and this was a tradition handed down from Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They all kept the Torah. It seems that after Yaakov died, and already they, maybe because they were now going to be enslaved by the Egyptians, through the slavery, that kind of distanced them from this tradition, which they had to maintain till now. Okay? Let's see the next pasuk. Vayikrevu.
Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lamus. Vayikra Livno LeYosef. Vayomer Lo Im Na Matzasi Chen Be'enecha Sim Na Yadcha Tachas Yerechi Ve'asisa Imadi Chesed Ve'emes Al Na Sik Be'reini Be'mitzrayim. Okay, so and they approached the days of Israel to die. So he called for his son Yosef, and he said to him, if now I have found grace in your eyes, place, please, your hand under my thigh and do with me kindness and truth. Please do not bury me in Egypt. Rashi says,
okay, Rashi.
Ravu Yemei Yisrael Lamus. The time approached for Israel to die. Kol mi she ne'amar bo k'riva lamus. Anyone about whom it says approaching to die, lo higia limei avosav. He did not reach the days of his fathers. So Yaakov, in other words, Yaakov died younger than he should have died.
Not that he should have died, but he died a shorter time. He lived shorter than his father did.
Right. Well, isn't that imply that he
well, it could be
time, but he lost some years for some reason.
Well, that is true with regard to Yaakov. But as far as the other example which he brings, that David HaMelech, I'm not sure it's applicable there. The point is, his life drew, in other words, he drew near to die. What does it mean to draw near to die? He doesn't die, he dies. What do you mean drawing near, coming closer to die? Meaning, as you said, we would have expected him to die at such a point, and the days he drew were brought closer, were brought earlier. His time to die was brought earlier than expected.
Right. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm just pointing out it wasn't necessarily because as a punishment or something like that. It just means we generally expect somebody to live as long as his father did.
Right.
Yeah.
You find this concept by Yitzchok when he reached within 5 years of the age that his mother, he was concerned maybe my time is already coming. So there's this concept: the person lives as long as he's the same amount of time as his parents, either father, mother, or something like that. Okay?
Yitzchak Chai Mea Ushmonim. Yitzchak lived 180 years. Yaakov Mea V'Arba'im V'Sheva. And Yaakov 147 years. B'David Ne'amar Kariva. Of David, it is said, approaching.
Also means the same thing. By you made David Lamos.
Right. Aviv.
Time approached for David to die.
Aviv Chai Arba Maos Shana. His father lived 400 years. Vahu Chai Shivim, and he lived 70.
Right.
Vayikra Livno Liosef.
Yeah, by the way, there's a different opinions whether it was 400 years or 80 years.
He called for his son for Yosef. Lemi shehaya hayecholes biyado, to the one who had the ability la'asos, to act. Sim na yodcha, place please your hand.
By the way, when Rashi's pointing that out, why you call him no Yosef, because Yosef was son number 11. So why didn't he call for his other sons to do it? So that's what Rashi points out, that Yosef was the one who had the ability to carry out any requests which required the cooperation of Paro or any other authority.
No.
Okay? Simcha Yadcha.
Vahi Shava, and swear.
Right.
Chesed ve'emes, kindness and truth. Chesed she'osin im hamesim, kindness that people do for the dead. Hu chesed shel emes, it is kindness of truth. She'eno mitzapeh litashlum gemul, that it does not, it is not reciprocated, the payment gemul, complete payment.
Gemul means like recompense.
Well, what is, I thought
Somebody normally, if you do a favor to your friend, so there's a good chance he'll give you back a favor. But when you do kindness to somebody who's passed away, somebody who's died, there's no way he's going to pay you back.
But doesn't tashlum mean to pay back?
Yeah.
So what's gemul mean?
Tashlum gemul doesn't expect to be paid back.
So it's a redundant, it's a phrase?
Yes, it's a colloquial phrase, tashlum gemul.
Okay.
The payment of recompense.
Al na tik.
By the way, yeah, I just want to make a point over here about chesed ve'emes, chesed shel emes. I heard on a tape this morning, B'Shem the Ksav Sofer, a very interesting point. Why do we bury people? Why if a person dies, why do we bury them? So he says an interesting point. There's a double purpose. One is out of respect for the deceased, that his body which has been with him during his lifetime, shouldn't be just cast away, thrown in the garbage. So you put it buried in the ground, in a respectable place. And the other part is that you don't want the dead body hanging around either. For people, the living people don't want the dead body having the dead body lying around. So it's interesting that chesed, which one does for the deceased, the actual burial itself is not necessarily a chesed. I mean, it is a chesed for the deceased, but the purpose of doing it is not necessarily. Our purpose in doing it is out of kindness to the dead person. We want to do it for ourselves because we don't want the dead body being around. We want to have it buried in the ground. It's when it decomposes, it shouldn't decompose in the vicinity of where human beings are living. So we put the dead body in the ground. But that actual burial itself could be anywhere. If we are particular to bury people according to their level of honor and level of respect that's due to them, that aspect is chesed shel emes. And that's why we find, for instance, by Avraham Avinu, it says he's the first one who said that he did chesed to Sarah, because he went out of his way. He didn't just bury her any place. He went out of the way to bury Sarah in a place which was for her honor, in order to give her honor and respect. And he buried her especially in the place where Adam and Chava had been buried, i.e. in the Maras HaMachpelah. So the fact that Avraham Avinu was particular to bury Sarah Dafka there, not anywhere else, that was out of honor of Sarah. That was the kindness which he did for Sarah. That's chesed shel emes. And similarly over here, you also have the same idea. Yaakov is now asking, he's asking, please don't just bury me anywhere. I want to be buried in a specific place that will be, according to my request, that will honor me, that will respect me. And that's why it's called chesed, what he says, chesed ve'emes. Okay? Says Rashi, yeah. Chesed ve'emes, chesed shel emes. By the way, Rashi is also pointing out over here, when he says chesed ve'emes, it doesn't mean two separate things. It's one thing two words go together. It's chesed shel emes. Genuine kindness. And that's why Rashi says genuine kindness is because the kindness one does for the deceased is considered genuine kindness, because the person has no expectation of the fact that the deceased can pay him back for the kindness he's doing to him. Okay? Sorry?
That seems wrong to me, because you get the gratitude of the people, the other people, the people who, I mean, if
the relatives, you mean?
The relatives and friends, yeah. I mean, they look at you and they say, "Oh, look at what a great guy he is." That's a recompense.
Mm.
That's true, but that's not from that person himself. I hear what you're saying. I don't know. It's a good question. I have to give that a bit of thought. Okay. Carry on. Al nasik bareni b'mitzrayim.
Al nasik bareni b'mitzrayim. Please do not bury me in Egypt. Sufa lehikos. What?
Sofa, not Sufa. Sofa.
Sofa lihios farah chinim.
Kinim.
Kini. Really? I don't have a dot in there.
Okay, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Chinim. Okay.
Okay.
The end. The earth of Mitzrayim is going to turn into lice.
In Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay. Ume racha shin tachas goofy, and they would crawl beneath my body.
Right.
V'she'ein meisei chutza la'aretz chayim, and because the dead outside the land will not live. Ella b'tza'ar gilgul mechilos. Rather, with pain.
Only, not instead of rather, only, but Tsar Gilgul Mechilos.
Only
that the
with pain rolling
through the passages, through the underground passages. So let me explain what that means. Chazal say that when Tchias HaMeisim comes, when the revival of the dead, it will happen in Eretz Yisrael. Tchias HaMeisim will happen in Eretz Yisrael. So how the people are buried in Chutz La'aretz will have Tchias HaMeisim? Okay, so they're going to have a big roll. They've got to roll to Eretz Yisrael through these underground passages. And obviously this will give tsar, an element of pain to the dead people. So therefore Yaakov said, I don't want to be buried in Chutz La'aretz because I'm going to have to, if it comes to Tchias HaMeisim, I'm going to have to, it'll be a painful experience for me to have to roll to Eretz Yisrael. Bury me in Eretz Yisrael. In this way, I won't have to roll anywhere. I'll be merit to have Tchias HaMeisim on the spot. Okay, that's reason number 2. And the third reason is V'shelo yasuni Mitzrayim avodah zarah, that the Egyptians should not turn me into an idol. We know that Yaakov Avinu was highly respected in the land of Egypt. And in fact, when he came, the famine stopped. So he was afraid that the Egyptians, after he dies, they're going to turn him into some kind of a demigod. Okay? So therefore, that's why Yaakov Avinu said, okay, please don't bury me here in Egypt, but rather bury me in Eretz Yisrael, in Ma'aras HaMachpelah. This way it will avoid causing the issue of the Egyptians turning him into an idol. Okay?
Good, Rabbi.
Then we'll stop here. Then we'll stop here and we'll carry on tomorrow. We've got one long Rashi here. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Say that.